Hey everyone, welcome back to our Python tutorial series. So far we have learned about functions, loops and modular programming. But there's an important concept that every programmer must understand. Scope and global variables in Python. By the end of this video, you will fully understand local and global scope, how Python handles variables and how to avoid common mistakes when working with them. Let's get started. What is variable scope? In Python, scope refers to where a variable is accessible in your code. There are four types of scope. Local scope, variables created inside a function. Enclosing scope, variables from an outer function for nested functions. Global scope, variables declared at the top level of a script. Built-in scope, Python's reserved keywords and built-in functions. Let's start by looking at local scope. A variable declared inside a function is local to that function and cannot be accessed outside of it. Let's see that with an example. I will just declare one function and with colon, and I will say x equal to 10, and I will print inside function. Now I will just put the value x. Now I will just call the function, and after calling function, one more print function to print value of x, which is defined inside this function. Let's save the program and run. So we have got an error saying name x is not defined. So here x is defined inside function. So trying to access it outside results in an error. So now if we just comment this code and run this, so we'll get output inside function. A global variable is defined outside any function and can be accessed anywhere in the script. For example, we'll define this x equal to 10 outside the function. Now if I uncomment this and run the code, as you can see, inside function 10 value is printed from this, and value of x, which is taken from here, is printed here. So since x is declared outside the function, it is accessible everywhere. Now what if we try to modify a global variable inside a function? We'll take same example where x is 10, and we'll try to modify the value of x equal to 20, and let's run the program and see the output. As you can see, value of x here is changed to 20 and it's printed, but the outside value of x, which is 10, it still remains same. So even though we assigned a value of 20 inside the function, the global value of x has remained 10. It's because Python treats x inside the function as a new local variable instead of modifying the global one. To modify a global variable inside a function, we use the global keyword. In the same example, we can just write global x and x equal to 20. Now we'll try to save the program and run it. As you can see, now the x value of 20 from the function has been changed, and even the global variable, which was with the help of global keyword, we told Python that we want to modify the existing global variable instead of creating a new local one. When we have a function inside another function, the inner function can access variables from the outer function. So this is called enclosing scope. So here I have defined one outer function, which is message hello from outer function, and inside the outer function I have defined one more function called inner, and it will print same message. And we have called the inner function inside the outer function, and outer function is called. Let's save this program and run this. As you can see, outer function is called here and message hello from outer function. So with this inner function, this function is called and printing the message. Even though message is not inside inner, it is accessible because inner is nested inside outer function. Python has many built-in functions like len, print, sum. These belong to the built-in scope and can be accessed anywhere. For example, print of length of Python using built-in length function. If we create a variable with the same name as a built-in function, we might accidentally override it. For example, sum equal to 10, and we can, if we write print of sum 1 comma 2, and if we run this, it gives int object is not callable. This will cause an error. So we should avoid naming variables after built-in functions. Now that we have understood scope, let's look at some common mistakes and how to avoid them. Forgetting global when modifying global variables. Let's say we have an example, counter equal to 0 and the function increment counter plus equal to 1. Here counter is treated as a new local variable. So to fix this, we need to declare this counter as global counter. So now it will take the global value of the counter. Let's say we have the list of 1, 2, 3. And if we print the list of 4, 5, 6, we'll get an error because list is an inbuilt keyword. So to fix that, we need to give a meaningful variable names. For example, my list. Now let's build a simple counter that keeps track of the number of function calls using a global variable. We'll define global variable counter equal to 0. Now we'll define one function, define increment counter. Inside this increment counter, we'll take the global value of counter and we'll increase that by 1. Now we will print function called counter times. Now we'll call this function 3 times. Let's see the output. As you can see, function called 1 times, 2 times and 3 times is printed. So each time we call increment counter function, the global counter is updated. Awesome. Now you understand local scope, global scope, enclosing scope and built-in scope. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Python tutorials. See you in the next video and happy coding.